It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day, and we are here on monthly maintenance at the Fairy Garden in San Carlos. I used to come in and take care of this garden just once or twice a year, so I never got to see it at this time. It's the 1st of May, and oh my gosh, the Chinese fringe tree is still in bloom with its beautiful white fringy flowers. And our Cirsus canadensis forest pansy is all leafed out. Now, you know me, and I'm always complaining about trees and don't plant under trees and blah, blah, blah. Well, one, this was a very early installation. I want to say this has been here for about 8 years. And two, I did a really good job of picking drought-tolerant, low-profile, well-behaved sidewalk trees. So if you had to do trees, these would be a couple of really good options. They shed only once a year. So we did a major overhaul in this garden about 3 months ago, where Greg took all the furniture and repainted it. And, you know, we took what was a wall or a fence line of aeoniums here that were just spent. It had been 3, 4, 5 years. They were tired. And Mel redid this area in the most beautiful combination of plants. We have a cotyledon, a Crassula ovata, millii, Portulacaria afrovariegata, and a little neon breakers. And then just a couple of little sedums, and over here on the edge an Aloe nobilis. And that just, he tucked rubble around it, and it's just the tightest little presentation. And look how it's set slightly off center with this framed out vertical above it. It's just perfection, and it's very simple. Now, these verticals also have been here. These were old antique windows that I bought at a Master Gardener spring seminar, and we put some hardware cloth and weed barrier fabric behind, stuffed with moss, and then just crammed succulent cuttings in there. And about once a year we add a lot of new plant material, but they're really quite sustainable. As you can see, these have been up here for 3 or 4 months, and they still looks terrific. These Petalanthus bracteus were really falling over and completely running amok. You may remember when you watched the video a few months ago how we reset these as cuttings into the ground. And never are the words, if your succulent stands up, you've done your job, more important than when resetting bracteus, because they're kind of top heavy and they tend to flop. But these are standing up beautifully. They've rerooted. I'm pulling and nothing is happening. They're starting to leaf out and flower, and I just could not be happier with this. Oh gosh, yes. Yes, and a redo here, this red gazing ball is an antique and a precious heirloom for the client. I put a little Montrose cactus, Myrtillo cactus here, kind of repeats the red, and then I just pulled in little sedums and Paciveria, Echeveria harmsii. Again, simple, simple, simple. This is elevated on a little bed. Super thrilled with that. Same here. I moved the Pachypodium a little bit, and it is finally starting to come out of it. That Pachypodium sat there and pouted for at least 5 years, and now it's happy. We have this adorable bird bath, and we put fireglass in it. It's so, so pretty. Tucked in some fresh little 1 gallons from Oasis in here. And reworked the plants around the fountain. These Crassula argentea sunset, the yellow jades, we shoved all those in as cuttings. And they have since rooted. I got in there and pulled and nothing happened. But you can kind of see how some of the lower leaves are a little burnt. We got some kind of unseasonal heat a few weeks back, but that is absolutely nothing to be concerned about. That's cosmetic, and the plant will completely and totally grow out of it. Look at the little jaguars. Little Mangave jaguar is so gorgeous. Love that. And love that combination with the cotyledon and the little Crassula platyphylla. What a great trio that is. Over here, Terry found a sunburst. Here it is, here, that was suffering from rot.
Squeeze it.
It's so gross. Ew. Good thing this isn't smell-o-vision, you guys. Gross, gross, gross. So what she did,
You can't see. No, other way.
is basically, you know, she just kept cutting until she found clean tissue. See, that tissue's all green and healthy looking. Now you can take this plant and put it in a dry place and let it callus over, but since there is no rain predicted, this is in a shady spot, what we do in this case is we just set it right on top of the soil, just like that. So it's still in here, it's cute, it's beautiful, and it has plenty of time to harden off before we have any more rain. I think everything with this little plant is going to be absolutely fine. So you can save your rotting aeoniums if you keep cutting until you get to healthy tissue.
Check out this pot over here.
Oh yes, and this beautiful, what is that? Puce, no, it's green, pot, staged with the, I brought in a new aloe vera ball too last time I was here. So, so pretty. We've got a trigona rubra and a great big Echeveria gibiflora hybrid. I see a neon breakers in there, more of the platyphylla. Basically just your standard offerings from Oasis Water Efficient Gardens. And that pot is just looking so, so good. There are so many microclimates in this garden. It's crazy. This Aeonium Zwartkopf has been in here since the beginning because, yeah, it's leggy. It's an arboretum, but I like it. Isn't it weird? It's just kind of gnarly and interesting. So I thought it was art. I decided to let it ride, and then I just underplanted with some little things, an agavoides and sedum adolphi, you know, a little crassula, no big deal. So
she can't help herself.
I can't. I guess I'm just
doing a video.
geeking out here. Okay, yes, and look at this Daiyai, this Aloe Daiyai, and how beautifully this plant owns this corner. It gets really hot right here. And we've had some difficulty finding anything that really worked and looked good year-round. And I think we found it. This can just keep growing and owning. Same with this Macrocarpa, this Petalanthus macro. I'm just going to let it go. It's so Dr. Seuss. And then when it reaches a point where it gets too bushy or it spreads too much, we can just trim it, thin it out, and stick it back in the ground like we did its cousin Bracteus. This Echeveria here, which I think is a Monaloa, has been here since inception too. Look at the trunk. Like how it goes all the way down here. And again, it was too interesting and weird, and I couldn't help myself. I just had to let it ride. So yeah, this garden is maturing beautifully. We're happy. The client is just absolutely loves it. And I'm thrilled to be able to bring you here on this beautiful May day so that you can see it too. This has been Laura Eubanks reporting for Design for Serenity with Hannah and Terry in San Carlos in the Fairy Garden, and your succulent tip of the day. Bye guys.